You're live now. Hey.
We have to be on time in life, right?
And we're on. Hey, Vidisha.
Hi, Dawn. How are you?
Good. You haven't changed a bit.
Hi, Prayas. You have
Hi.
there.
So you're going to the arts to center, right? So you want to introduce this the title that you chose for today, and this occasion we are all here talking as part of your residency. So you'd like to introduce this thing?
Is this are these the dogs at Dawn's place or are these the dogs at Prayas' place?
My place.
So Dawn actually was telling me that it's better for him to start at midnight because it's very noisy otherwise. Is that true?
Yeah, it gets noisy here. We've got dogs here too. I think they're all asleep, so that's good.
How much do they sleep? How many hours do they sleep every day? Your dog.
I have no idea. I must assume maybe 8 hours of napping. I can also hear some chickens.
Chicken? No.
Or is that me? Maybe that's me. Oh, there you go. See, I've got dogs. There you go.
Yeah, so I think it just kind of was I mean, because there is no center, but it was still I mean, when we were trying to figure out what time do we do this,
Yeah.
we were just trying to know where we were placed. And when one was trying to say when we were placed, one was looking at, so I mean, how many hours we were away from each other. And actually also the GMT, but nobody cares about the GMT. So yeah, it was just, I mean, if this right now became the center, then we were just hours from the center.
Right.
So that's how our hours from center started.
So this is our 0000.
Yes,
Yeah, that's correct.
that's it.
Okay.
Or now it's like 0001, maybe.
So Don, you'd like to ask Vidisha what she's been doing in the residency?
Yeah, I'd be very, very happy to know. I'm so curious.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been keeping, track of all most of the postings and everything. So yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. So Vidisha, why don't you maybe offer us a kind of a journalistic account of your time with us, right?
I don't know how this account is going to come out, but I think, I mean, one of the things for me at every residency is, again, I'm going to repeat this all the time, is the idea of the process, and it kind of just like happens. Sometimes you think about it, so you kind of tell yourself, yes, this is what so there's planned and then there's unplanned. So one of the first things which happened actually at the residency, the day one, was I had this dream. And in that dream, it was very related to like another dream I had when I was like 9 years old. So when I was 9 years old, I had this dream, which was we were in like a basically we were like in the middle of, it was like Jurassic Park, but the dinosaurs were having a fight, and like so there was like a dinosaur war, and but there were two places. One was a house, but it was very similar to like my grandparents' house. And there was this other kind of a cafeteria, like room kind of space. And I don't know where that belonged to. But they both were like the safe spaces, even though we were in the middle of a war which was happening about dinosaurs. So what happened is that nothing. So then there was a dinosaur who used to actually like reading. And
Like,
this is like what happened in my dream, where the dinosaur liked to read. And
oh,
I don't know, Prayas, if you remembered, we used to, I mean, in the 90s, there used to be like this television show which was called Danu.
Danu? No, I don't remember
done.
It was a
Danu.
dinosaur, it was a baby dinosaur.
Okay, no.
And he used to be like people's friend or something. Actually, I don't remember it, but I just remember there was like a song. There was,
Hmm.
maybe I'll play it at some point. And anyway, so yeah, so that dinosaur was a baby dinosaur, and he liked reading. So if you gave it books, which we used to give it while we were at my grandparents' house, and or which was and it became friends with us. So then it would like take us on its back between those two places. And then I don't remember the dream anymore. Okay. But the dream that I had on the first day of the residency was very similar to this idea. So it was again, you were at a war front. So I was at a war front in that dream. And
Mhm.
I again had like a safe space, which was a house again. And I don't know whose house it was now. And we were, and the war was basically happening in the backyard. The war was happening in the backyard. We were on some kind of horses, and we were like running on those horses. But the grass field wasn't like a violent grass field. It was like this Narnia, like beautiful kind of grass field. Like it didn't like seem like bloody or anything, but it was war. But everybody was at war. Uh, but anyway, so I mean, so then I just like so when I was 9, I had written down that dream because my mom had asked me to write that dream. And so then I wrote my dream this time again. So that's how the residency started. And then after that, I mean, then been doing like other things, and Dawn has also seen them actually. Where and Dawn also commented on some of those things. And I mean, he was looking. I mean, I think there was also this time how Dawn and Prayas actually got to speak with each other for the first time. Is Prayas? I think I don't know why he just like, oh, so I need like few people to talk to. This is how I like tagged Dawn. I'm like, oh, so Prayas needs somebody to talk to. Great.
I thought that was a nice start.
Yeah. I mean, I just, yeah, sometimes I like to be honest. Okay, so I don't have anyone to talk to. So let's try to solve this problem. So if you solve this problem with network, why can't everyone suggest 5 people for me to talk to? And you're the only one who actually suggested people and actually had conversations. So actually, yeah, we chatted for a bit and we spoke for a bit, and then we've been engaging. But no one else actually did. All the people attacked. Nobody, nobody else.
So what did you guys talk about? What happened?
We were talking. I think what I remember, we were talking mostly about surfacial and
Yeah.
What and how surfacial conceives of as knowledge, and how let's say how does teaching operate as a process and how learning operates as a process. And so that's what I remember, right? And maybe if
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
yeah,
I think there was a point there where we started talking about how for certain things to happen, certain other things have to be pushed back.
right,
I kind of remember we were talking about um, when something is there, it pushes back against something else, and that's how you know it's there. Or maybe I'm just making that up, but I just remember that.
right. I mean, I don't really remember the context of that, but I do remember that we were talking about these roles that we play,
Mhm.
and the space that we occupy and who we appear to be and who we are and all of that business. and which actually, Vidisha, when we were talking about the porosity of the self on the swimming lessons session, I think we were also getting into that a little bit. But yeah, and I think that remains. I mean, that remains for me a very persistent kind of interest because who you, what the narrative of whoever you think you might be, what your narrative of yourself is, and whatever yourself might be, that decides almost everything for us, not just in terms of our social transactions, but also in terms of our, what, how people remember us. And when they, I mean, remembering is not just in the sense of history, but also in the present, and how they know us and how they think of us, and how, let's say, how we can use that for what we want to do with them.
Yeah, I think it's interesting also because the narrative becomes shared, right? Your narrative of self, I guess, needs validation from another narrative.
Yeah, and I think at that point we were talking about this whole idea of self-validation that
Mm-hmm.
I like to develop, and which actually discounts away all the other validation loops that we need to somehow pass through uh, in in order to prioritize production. So, in the sense that, yeah, if you need to do what you need to do, then that's never going to happen when if you're still waiting for someone to confirm that yes, you can do this. So the validation loop. So if you
Right, right,
because when production involves waiting, then it's already spent. It's already not
right.
possible.
Yeah,
So just
yeah.
to keep that whole immediate process actually immediate, right? Just to, okay, you think of it, you do it. You think of it, you do it, and just to prioritize that, but actually haven't really figured out or thought much about how to deal with the other part of the business, and which is that after you have produced, after you actually have something, and you want people to adopt it, you want people to, let's say, share your perspective or buy into your perspective, whatever. I haven't
Mm-hmm.
really, I haven't really figured much of that out, because that seems to be in some ways contrary to the whole process of production. What you need for producing and what you need for, let's say, disseminating, or all of that, they seem to be different as processes that you need to, yeah.
I think I was kind of reading this, scanning this article earlier about I forget his name. He's like one of those French writer guys. He's about was talking about how the encounter, this thing that changes us, only kind of happens either. It's partly because of logistics or a kind of logical frame, but also it's not just that. It's also about an experiential frame, but it can't be reduced to that either. So it hangs in between those two. And I think that's kind of what Price is talking about here, where the process itself just has to happen, except that there's some sort of contradiction because it's it it has to happen with somebody else
No, so after it has happened, you know
after
then
it has happened.
after it has happened, how does it travel? So that seems to be this whole puzzle, which has different people and different, let's say, different people involved, and I find it very difficult to think of models in which multiple people are involved, because I can't really think how someone else could be thinking so differently from how I think. Because I mean, in terms of if you think at the cosmic scale, or if you think of, whatever, we can try to think of at that scale. We can't really do it. But if you try to zoom out and think of at that scale, then how is it even possible that multiple people exist? Because where does the other even come from?
Well, I think maybe it's about because they have other desires.
No, but
That
let's say
don't
we think of consciousness as this internet, and
Mhm.
so when you log on and when I log on, we are logging on to the internet. So when we are conscious, then we are partaking in consciousness. But
Mhm.
consciousness is still unified, and it's coherent in its character, right? I mean, the internet doesn't change just because I log in.
Right, right, right,
Hmm.
right. What is that, Vidisha?
I had turned off the lights in my room, but it's just better for me to concentrate like this.
You drew a wing on your forehead.
Because you guys can't see me. So I just,
I can
uh,
kind of see you.
Yeah, we can see your face.
but then I go far, you can't see me.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, but prayers, then you are in two kind of physicalities. One is the conscious, or two kind of consciousness. One is the internet's own conscious, and one is the consciousness that you have when you are located in your own space. Or yeah,
No, so if you're conscious, then you are basically subscribing in some way to consciousness, right? In the sense, so who you are when you are by yourself in your space is can't be really something very different from
Yeah, yeah,
the collective social. I mean,
yeah. So
right. But that's your honesty. I mean, that's I don't know. What are you saying, Don?
yeah, I'm tending to agree with Prayas here. Um, that there's not that much difference between who we are with ourselves and who we are with other people. If there were, then there'd be such a break that we wouldn't be able to tell maybe um, those two experiences from each other, or would we be able to?
yeah, I mean, I would really enjoy it if it were really different, because then the time I spent alone would be like a vacation, or it would be like a refreshing time. But and when I'm with someone else, it's like, okay, then I have to play a role, whatever. But that never happens, right? I mean, you're still having to deal with the same stuff when you're by yourself or when you're with others, right? It's the same thing. You might choose to engage with things at varying degrees and intensities, but
No, I don't actually agree to this. I don't actually agree to this. I think we do perform for the other person. I mean, it depends. Either that other person, we make the other person perform for us, or we perform for the other person.
no, we can perform, but
And
in
it's
this,
unconscious performance.
no, okay, in the sense, okay, so if you imagine a sensor,
Hmm.
just like a machine, it's sensor. If you imagine this sensor, and this sensor can sense that you are in the room, and if some other person comes, it will say, no, you are not in the room, it's someone else, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so
Yeah.
now, now regardless whether you are in the room with someone else or you are in the room by yourself, this sensor is always going to say whether you're in the room or not, right? So the quality of your presence, wouldn't really, your
Yeah.
presence can't really change. You
That's
might, no, I missed that,
we can't
Vidisha.
hear you.
We
No,
can't
I
change
didn't say
that.
anything.
No, right. I mean, we can't change our presence. We can configure what we project. We can change what we project. We can change what we like to say or what we like to think even. But can we really do anything about our presence?
Well, it's varying degrees, right? And I guess that's what you're saying. You modulate it, which to Vidisha is a performance. I think that's what you mean, Vidish.
No, I mean, because Prayas, the sensor thing that he's saying, then it's just basically identifying you as a physical presence. You know, like Prayas says that the sensor is that you present. Say say that oh it's someone you, but it you are present, right? But I'm talking about that. But of course but that's just the physical presence, which is similar to your presence anywhere else. So it's just that physical presence which is equal everywhere, but not the presence of the conscious, or like who is that person who's present. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
Yes, sir.
the who doesn't matter. See, now let's say you think of silent actors, right? Actors who are silent.
Hmm.
Now, actors who are silent, they only have their presence to work with.
Two.
They only have their presence to work with. Let's say modulating their presence, like Don was saying, is their only language.
Hmm.
They're modulating it in different ways and whatever. And so I'm saying that, okay, where does the who come in? I
Hmm.
mean, modulating the presence is anyway such so much about stuff that we don't even understand. I mean, I don't even think there's any sensor existing, any way that technology has to even, or even medical science, any bioscience. I don't think anyone has any way of actually trying to figure what it actually means to modulate a presence. What does it mean to actually act, right? So there's no camera that exists that can photograph different acts. We don't really know what that's about. So where does the who question come in?
So there's no distinction between presence and identity.
Yeah, I mean that's the only. I mean the identity is largely. I mean your identity might be just a might just be largely a garb that you try to fashion yourself, or let's say you identify yourself in terms of your uh, what you consciously choose or identify with in terms of cultural content and how you like picture yourself and all of that. But that's very superfluous. I mean, it's not really very basic in terms of who you are as a person. I mean, if you were to lose a part of your brain, all of that will just disappear.
Hmm. No, but okay. So now the thing is that when it comes to the idea of that presence, there is other things which are around it, right?
Like
I mean, other things
like
like
what?
like chair. Are you sitting? Are you standing? Because that is changing. And this I'm just talking about, like just that physical presence again. Like So I mean, so similarly, even if you lose a part of your brain, that particular sitting or standing is going to define how you are present, because
Yeah,
that's just the thing.
but it might define how you are present, but would it change very much the character of your presence?
But it's still you.
Yeah, it's still you, whether you're standing or you're sitting or you're doing anything else.
But then it's just you all the time. But I'm only saying that the you keeps changing. The you is not constant.
No, but I mean, I don't really. I mean, what I so I think yeah, what we were talking about that day in terms of uh, in this reference, in this context, in the with the porosity of the self that we were. Yeah, so I think that porosity was more in terms of the voice, right? So voice and presence are, I think, very different in terms of uh, where they how they reflect, right? How they make themselves felt. So you could speak in different voices, and those voices, each of them would be very equally authentic. Even they would seem equally based on material that is really there somewhere inside you. But presence has nothing to do. It's not so high level. Like voice is very high level, presence is very low level. It's I mean, your presence is something your dog can understand. Now your voice is something, if you're talking as one character or the other, your dog doesn't care. As long as
He
you
agrees.
are here.
The dog agrees that.
Yeah, that's not my dog, that was a street dog.
So,
That guy agrees too.
Yeah.
so I think we're kind of identifying maybe almost two levels of you here, right? One, there's presence, and what Vidisha is saying, that maybe the thing that's more than just presence is all fluid.
Yeah, yeah. So in
Yeah.
that sense, I think what we are talking about is in that sense like hardware, and if you talk about hardware and software in the sense, your presence is your hardware, and everything else is software.
Yeah. So no, I mean, so I've been doing this other thing where I was like taking interviews of anesthesiologists,
Hmm.
um, and they were trying to tell me something, which is that your body. So there are different levels that happen in anesthesia. One of them is that you just basically sleep, okay? That the person becomes unconscious. But
Hmm.
unconscious person still has reflexes, which means that uh, if someone tries to cut a part of your body, your spinal cord says that, oh, this is harmful to you. Uh, so you need to, sorry, just give me a second. I need to become brighter for this. Um, that something is harmful for you. So your body is going to have reflexes, and it's going to either push it, and this is you unconscious pushing something, like your muscle is going to like stop something from happening to you. So that's why you have to use a muscle relaxant as well. So that's another part of anesthesia where you have to use a muscle relaxant, where so now in that physical sense of being present, your reflex exists along with your presence, and you don't have control on that reflex. So that's also something that defines you even after having lost a certain part of your brain, or lost that certain you that we are trying to get to. But so this is just like basic reflex that happens, right? Now what happens is that And again, like coming back to the event page on the residency where I talk about that the baby tries to grab fire, and
Mhm.
then the baby because he doesn't know what it is. He's curious to grab fire, but he knows that it's really hot, so he's going to move his hand away from it. So that is just the physical reflex of the baby. The baby doesn't know why it moved his hands away from it. So now the idea of more the consciousness of which is outside of that physical is that the baby does not really go and touch it. If it was even an adult and adult found something which is harmful, not an adult but like a grown up who has understood certain things and found something harmful, he would actually even not only move away from it but also push it, or so have an opposite reaction, not only just a reflex of protecting yourself. So it attacks. It's also attacking. It's only not just saving itself from the initial presence. So those are so I think understanding the idea of sleep as multiple levels of consciousness is also important. Because if you see a sleeping person, you can wake him up, you know. But the unconscious person, you can't wake him up. He will only have reflex, but the sleeping person would have more than that because he'll wake up.
Yeah, are you, if we're making a distinction between the reflex and the adult, the reflex of the baby, for example, and the adult deciding that this is bad and so I push it away, is there a difference between the two?
Yeah, because reflex is not controlled by you. Reflex is also something which is present when you are unconscious.
When you are not there,
When
when
you
the
are
you
unconscious.
is
Yeah,
not there,
yeah,
the non-you is still moving.
yeah.
No, but I think that is, I mean, I wouldn't consider that part of, I think that is part of your hardwired uh, physical presence, in the sense that if you have a gadget and there are two components linked by some wire, and if you try and power it on, it will not get powered on, and it will give you some kind of error. I mean, that's something which a machine can do. That is, check. A machine can check whether all the parts that needs to function are present or not, right? So the reflexes are reflexes as self-defensive actions which are automatic. Reflexes as instincts to, let's say, guarantee safety of some kind. Now that can be machined, and I mean, I like to think of whatever can be machined as something that can't define anything about what it means to be human at all, right? So because we have already figured a way to construct it, and what we got by constructing it was not in any way human.
But that,
So,
sorry, go ahead.
go ahead, Vidisha.
No, 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 go ahead.
Uh, so really, when we're saying that the person is an unconscious, um, the body is now a machine, and the you isn't there anymore.
Yeah, so it is like in the word that you call it, it's unconscious. So when
Mm,
you're not conscious, you're not
there.
there. You're
No,
just not
what I'm
there.
saying is that this a reflex is also present when you're conscious.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I
when
mean, that they might be part of your uh, presence in a very hardware specific way, right?
yeah,
Because your machine, when you are conscious, a part of you which is present, is actually a machine, right? So in the sense how we function in terms of how our body actually functions, we don't have to think about it very much. We don't have to think about it at all, right?
So
So it's
exactly, that's what I'm trying to understand. That's what I'm trying to understand from your idea that my presence is same everywhere. That then it's just basically your hardware which is same everywhere. It's not your software which is same everywhere. How can your software be same everywhere?
right.
That's exactly what I was trying to ask about the idea of the presence.
No, but presence, even if we are thinking, I will still be hesitant to equate presence and hardware. I know we tried to do that a while back, but I'd say that, we have not really figured out. We have not really figured out how to make how to make things which are present in the same way that people are. We have not been able to do that. We don't know what presence consists of, even in a hardware specific way.
Hmm.
But the hardware and software device, the device as a concept also, I think, is weak because it, it is going in the direction of separating the body and mind, so to say, which is maybe just a few steps away from separating the body and soul, which is definitely something to be remain away from.
Please.
I know we're kind of moving toward there.
Yeah.
No,
So
I'm not interested in the soul.
right.
I'm only interested in the conscious action. I'm actually also not interested in the hardware software business. I'm only I'm just I'm only trying to understand the idea of what do you mean by like I see Prayas, I've still not understood your concept of same thing being present everywhere.
Okay, so let's go back there. Let's backtrack and go back there, because otherwise we'll just become theological about this. So I think so. You're the same thing everywhere in the sense that for someone who can't understand what you say, someone who can't understand what you or see what you do or anything else, uh, they can still feel who is present, right? And now what does that involve in what does it involve in terms of on your part? That we don't know yet. But and let's say it was a faulty, let's say, idea to, let's say, to think about this as hardware. But then I don't I understand presence to be something which is very difficult for your act otherwise, right? Your act in the sense of, in terms of what you like to project, what you like to do, what you like to say, what you like to think, all of that. That is your act. Now, it's very difficult for your act to meddle, to mess with what you are, how you are present. But I think we can also argue again, argue that that this is not so. That it's possible that we are present in different ways. Because yeah, we don't need to accept this statement to be true.
I, 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 yeah, I'm trying to understand it too. I like the whole thing about making a machine that has presence in a human way. Um, so I don't know. I guess kids do this more than adults, um, but if we have a cup and we name it, and now it's a character, and it's present to me as that character or that person, let's say Bob the Cup, and like I put Bob the Cup there, and every morning I check up on Bob the Cup, and is that the same presence as other people are to me? I guess there's a similarity, but there's also differences, right?
Right. I mean, can you even equate what the cup is for you to what someone is for you?
Hmm.
It,
Yeah, sure. I mean, why not?
I mean, it will be. I mean, I would find it so difficult to equate anything with anyone.
Ah,
I mean, just because
But
you
why are people so precious, Prayas? Why
no
are you
people are not precious. People
that's
are not precious. They're just problematic, right? In the sense
yeah,
that
yeah.
someone
But then
sitting
is
in
the
the
cup
room
more precious? Why
for
then why are you
some.
making the cup precious?
No,
Don't
the
make
cup is
any
not precious. The cup is something I can throw if it's not very expensive. But I'm saying if there's someone present in the room, I have to deal with them. And not dealing with them has to be a choice, which then has to be, you know, okay, talked about that. I'm not going to deal with you. But if there is someone in the room, you can't just filter them out. I mean, you
So
can't
how did
filter
that person get there? That person is not sitting with you on like you don't have like another kind of a commode inside your bathroom that the person is coming and using it with you. You know what I mean? So where is that person sitting with you? That person is not coming to your bedroom. You're only inviting whoever you want to your bedroom. No,
No, but
and
I'm in this room, and if let's say someone else is sitting here,
hmm.
then it's not going to be trivial. At least it's not going to be at least trivial for me to filter out their presence and go on as if they were not here. It is not going to be trivial. It's going to be an act of certain intensity for me to even get away with it. No?
I
uh,
guess
no, go ahead.
presence can't be. Presence is that thing that can't be ignored, right?
Yeah,
So
I
if you
mean that's what I.
ignore it,
Yeah.
but then like animals would have presence too.
Yeah, and animals are easy to ignore in that sense. But I think they're, I don't know, it's, I don't know,
But
are we talking about communication then? Presences which can communicate with us at our, in our system of, language or whatever. Are we talking about that?
yes, I think it's. I mean, see that why I said that why you valuing human beings more versus like I mean let's not think of it as human being. Let's just like think of it as presence of any kind, you know, and that coffee cup is something that he's holding in his hand and it's a chair that he's sitting on, you know, and there are other things which are happening in the background and all of those things are present and all of those things are uh, I mean are moving in a different whatever way we are interacting with it in whatever way, you know. So what I'm saying is that you can choose to uh, there are things even as objects which you can't ignore, and same thing to with people. There are also people who can be in the same room as you and you actually don't have to speak with them, you know,
But
to
objects are so simple to ignore.
why you have to pass through a door when you're walking. You ignore that door.
Yeah, you can pass through a door. You can, and I mean, you can't ignore a wall because otherwise you'll just crash into it. But I mean,
Yeah,
all
but
of
you're also
that.
you're using the door without choice. Like you don't have a choice but to use that door.
Yeah, but that's architecture. I mean, that's the structure of space around me. That's my environment. How does it make a quality of the door that I can't ignore it? It's not something the door is doing because of which I can't ignore it. There is no there is no consciousness. There is no where there is no consciousness, there is no presence. I would not think of objects being present in the sense that, yeah, like conscious presence.
Hmm. What do you think, Don?
I'm thinking of other objects that kind of get in the way more than just normal objects. Would we say a dead body was an object?
Yeah, that's a really tough puzzle breaker because, yeah, a dead object, a dead body is is not conscious at all because it's dead. So, but then it also has a specific kind of presence for you to not be able to treat it like any other object. So in the sense, you can't use dead bodies as furniture, even though they would be comfortable, because you just can't. It would not.
What do you have dead bodies as furniture? That's incredible.
Yeah,
Wait,
it just.
hold on. I mean, like furniture is essentially dead tree bodies, right?
Yeah, we don't think of wood as dead body of a tree.
Just, yeah. Well, it depends on the person.
That's too funny.
No, I mean a dead body as furniture would fulfill all the criteria of furniture. They're soft.
Yes, won't need mattresses anymore. Like that's
Yeah.
not anymore. Thank you.
So fat people. I think we need fat people as dead fat people. So essentially, all of US
Yeah, that's only mattresses. Thin people could be yoga mats then.
is yoga. No, but
Yeah,
that's Don's, I mean, thought experiment. Like if you, yeah, I mean, you would. I really don't know if it. I mean, a dead body furniture wouldn't be possible in this meditative of civilization that we live in. You know, it'll take
no, I
a
actually think it's
dramatic.
probably happening somewhere.
No, I mean,
It's probably
I don't even think that some obscure tribe somewhere does it. I don't think anyone does it because
why?
if there's one thing common between how all humans deal with dead bodies is that they don't treat dead bodies as ordinary material. So, for example, yeah, in here, like Vidisha, I mean, Indians and their, all their traditions and all that. There is
I'm
this
gonna show you something. I want to
play.
show you something.
Yeah.
So that's a picture.
Wow.
Is
So
that you? Well, wait, where is that from?
that's a so it's a picture which kind of like traveled. That this is like
Ah,
he kept his dead wife as a in a glass coffee table.
uh-huh.
So that's what that picture is. It's like his dead wife.
But is that true or is that
This is in Arizona.
okay?
Okay. Hmm.
So I mean, initially when probably this image went viral, people thought that that's actually what happened, and of course there were like other stories which kind of went around this image about, oh, this is only them posing for fun, like, so it's just like people drinking and then posing, as like the dead wife, or he actually preserved it for that long, and then he was arrested or something for doing that. So yeah, that's the dead wife as furniture.
Yeah, but I
That
mean, it was not an ordinary event, right? It went viral, right? So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. If
Yeah.
anyone ever did it, it won't be an ordinary, oh, wow, that's someone using a dead body as furniture.
so so when we say the dead wife furniture, does that have presence?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think dead bodies have such a strong and differing presence than, let's say, any other live person. But I think a dead body has all dead bodies. No, they don't, right? So all dead bodies have a different presence, right? So they don't all feel the same. But then I'm not even sure if
They don't feel anything. What do they feel? They have reflexes for a little bit. That's it.
no, dead bodies don't feel anything, but we feel something that someone is dead in the room.
So that's the same thing with the mug. I don't give a shit about your mug. Maybe you do.
No, but the mug doesn't give a shit. But but okay, what I'm
It's
saying
the
is,
dead body. The dead body doesn't give a shit.
of course it
Well,
doesn't because it's dead. But I'm saying that let's say you have a dog, you have 10 dogs in the room, and you have one dead body in the room. Now, can you just pass through the room as if it's totally an ordinary room, and
Yes.
can just ignore the dead body? You go to meet your friend and there is a dead body in the room. Can you just ignore it and ask about popcorn and about a
So,
movie?
so when I go to meet my friend, I'm not going to ignore the dead body. But when I am again in my dream at the war zone, there are so many dead bodies. I have to ignore all of them.
But people who have died in your dream, you didn't know them as
No,
living
but I'm
people.
just talking about if there was a real war I was at, I do not have the time to bother about a dead body. So dead body depends. Like dead body doesn't make a mind. It's like the cup doesn't become yours unless you buy it. When they're on the shelves at a supermarket, they're just on the shelves at the supermarket. So you ignore them.
So you are saying that if it is a stranger's dead body, if it's some stranger's dead body, then
No,
most
no.
probably you
It,
wouldn't feel a thing.
No, I'm just saying where I find it. When I find it like in hospital or something like that. Like the other day I was at the hospital again because I was doing the anesthesia thing. Uh, there were like this meeting of there was a meeting of like certain people who are like the cleaning staff for a particular unit in the hospital. So in medical schools there are different units for different kind of treatments, and the unit was just like, oh, so we need like to hire more people, and so we need like two people who can clean that particular corridor area. We need two people who can like take the garbage to like the NDMC place, and we need two people who can pick up those dead bodies. So yeah, it's extremely normal to say something like that in a situation like this. So when you see a dead body there, it's fine.
I mean, it's fine in the sense you don't feel anything.
No.
hmm.
Once I actually was on a on one of these like India has like lot of has created like lot of like these religious yatras or journeys, and you walk there for really like miles and miles to get there. So I was at one of these, which was at a really high what do you call it, high, it was a very high mountain peak, and we were climbing these stairs or whatever, like a path, and it's so high and it's such a high altitude that we can't breathe. So they have a lot of like these oxygen places, like tents where you can go and sit and get oxygen because you can't breathe there. but you
Right.
have gotten there after like a long, long days of getting there. And of course, the person chosen you to go there. So anyway, so you get there, and everybody was trying to make way because it's also extremely crowded. It's extremely crowded. It's extremely cold. People are totally like, it's like everybody is pushing each other. People are still trying to be in lines. So there was a guy who, so basically he died because of the high altitude, and his dead body is being carried in front of us, and we basically just walked behind that dead body because when they walked with the dead body, they just kept saying dead body, so people made way for them. So at that time, we were not like, yes, sure, this guy is dead, but what do I do with it? So we just basically walked behind the dead body only so that we could be at a little, we could pass through the crowd.
So you're saying that anything that we might assume as being an automatic or a
React.
natural way of sensing a dead body is just social or cultural baggage. It doesn't really have anything to do with the physical sensing.
Yeah.
You don't think? Yeah, that's what he's saying. Okay. So,
Yeah, because dead bodies are used for so many different things. Like, it's a tradition of like so many different most of the organizations which kind of are built which kind of have kept a certain legacy or keep a certain human being as a currency, they continuously, whenever that person dies, that opportunity is actually used to, so his body is brought to the office to raise funds for fundraising, you know, and that's what the body is used for. Because if he is the currency and his legacy is what is going to be used as a currency for a certain institution. And this is, this I've seen, of course, with a lot of like left.
right, because the story of religion is in that sense the story of selling dead bodies.
Yeah.
Well, and living bodies too.
What are you
Yeah,
saying, Ram?
who are channeling dead bodies, living bodies who are channeling dead bodies, right? I
Oh, what's
mean,
that again, Press?
no, I was saying so living bodies who channel dead bodies. So like a
Mm.
priest or a pope is in the sense drawing his authority from the fact that he's in some kind of reception of something from someone who's essentially died, and then of course it's also the larger belief system which I find ridiculous of actually believing in any life after death. I mean that is almost I don't understand how that. I mean, I don't know how perfectly rational human beings can accept that at face value. No, I mean, I don't know. I find that ridiculous. But
It does not seem natural. That's it, right? It's not a natural.
yeah, I mean, how so far as how we understand life and death, right? Then I mean, I've never even thought of what life after death might be because that we don't even know enough about life and death as it is. Then life after death is just another twist to the whole story. I mean, I just don't get it.
I
How
have to
something
show you
is,
something else, Lemus.
huh?
I have to show you something. Just give me a second.
Okay, okay. So there is some other joke. Yeah, I was for a moment I was deluded in thinking that you actually found what I was saying funny.
Yeah,
See, this,
that's what I thought too. And I was wondering whether I wanted to laugh or not. Okay, what is this?
this
Yes, too
is
small. Yeah, is heaven real?
Can you see it now?
You have to keep saying something for it to be on screen.
Oh, okay. So can you hear me now? Yeah,
Yeah.
this is great.
Yeah.
So this
Say,
is a
say.
Harvard neurosurgeon who confirms that afterlife exists. And this is like a recent article which has come out. And he's just like, oh, I was about to die or something like that. I read it long time ago. But yeah, so I mean, it's a neurosurgeon who's trying to prove this same. I don't know why is he trying to prove that.
Yeah.
I think he was in coma or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it might just be to because he's a zombie. I mean, in the sense that he's already died, but he still needs to collect some money, and for that he needs to prove that he's alive. So he
Oh
might
yeah,
be a
that's a
zombie.
good one. I believe that. I take that. It's 10:30.
Yes.
Is it 10:30 already?
Yeah. But I think largely this discussion is very in. I mean, I don't know if. I think we should make this a whole study group at Surfacial, and really it needs a few more days and few more people to actually thrash it out. But the whole presence and whatever the question, I think we should make it expand it so that we can figure it out more. And yeah, Don, so I'll set it up. I'll check with you for dates, and Vidisha will check with you for dates, and we'll have to keep investigating. I don't know, because
Yeah.
I don't feel like we are anywhere right now.
Oh yeah, we're nowhere right now. We're just staring at the dead body.
Yeah.
It,
But I love the furniture. I think it's great.
what's that?
Yeah.
I love dead body furniture. It's so good.
Yeah, that might actually be a ready-made art object which might be ready to, fetishize and sell for a big sum of money. We could
Yeah.
try and get some artist to do it.
No, we should just have a line. We should just like have a line and be like people.
Oh, we could actually kill people to make it.
No, it depends. I mean, if our demand increases and if we are offering a particular kind of product, then we gotta kill people.
Or we have to
Depends
ask
on how
people
much
to
money.
volunteer. Yeah, we have to ask people to volunteer dying. Like, do you feel that life has no meaning? Do
People
you
do that
feel?
when I ask people actually do. You would fucking find people.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, we could actually put it out there. Okay, see you. So we should wrap up for tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. Good night, everyone. Yeah.
Good
See you.
night.
Good
Bye.
night, guys. Just remember, when you're asleep, you're a dead body too.
Yeah.
Okay, bye
Yeah.
guys. It was
So,
great.
yeah. Good night.
Good night.